Hello there, I'm Aahil Somani.
And I'm Angelina Rudakova, and we're here today at this gorgeous Burnaby Mountain Park located in Burnaby, British Columbia.
Our first segment is brought to you by Richard Davis from Burnaby Connect about the Port of Vancouver blockade about the Wet'suwet'en hereditary chiefs.
So Harrison, what are you doing here, and what is this all about? Like, let's say for someone like me who doesn't follow this issue, doesn't know what's entirely going on, how would you describe it?
Right, so right now up at Wet'suwet'en, which is up near like Smithers and Kitimat in northern BC, there's a pipeline, the Coastal GasLink pipeline, that they're trying to put through unceded First Nations territory. And the Wet'suwet'en people up there, their hereditary chiefs, which is their traditional form of governance, are opposed to the pipeline, and they've set up blockades to keep the pipeline workers from building it on their territory. They've been trying to build it right next to where they have a traditional healing center, like helping people who are dealing with addictions. They're trying to build it right through that territory, through the traditional territory, without the consent of their traditional government.
So straight through their community, and it's ripping it up, and that's, I guess, what a lot of the cry is about, from the sounds of it.
Yes, absolutely. And then what happened was, so last year they raided, the RCMP raided them, and they came in with snipers. I believe about 20-30 people ended up being arrested. And now a report came out recently that the RCMP were told to use as much violence as they wanted against the people at the blockades. So now they've just started raiding again, so there's a lot of fear from the people up there because of what happened last time, how violently they were treated.
Now, from the sound of you guys are blockading, I got a alert on my phone from TransLink saying that there's multiple protests shutting down parts of Vancouver. Is that all you guys, you think, currently?
So there are various different groups. So right now, like, Indigenous activists have been leading blockades of the port of Vancouver down there. I was in Victoria over on Friday. There are Indigenous youth shutting down the legislature there, blocking bridges. It's happening all across Canada. Various places are being shut down, all led by Indigenous activists at the request of the hereditary chiefs from Wet'suwet'en.
So they are really controlling or kind of leading the fight against the pipeline, and also
they put out a call out for like an international kind of week of actions in response to the raid. So everyone's responding to that.
So what is the actions being effective in your eyes, and what do you see coming out of this? And what is the hope of all of these shutdowns?
I think that the main goal is to break people out of apathy and complacency. There are a lot of people who just don't know what's going on, and if they know what's going on, don't know the scope of it, how big, like how scared these Indigenous people are, how their lands are being stolen from them. So it's really just to like wake people up, to get them to care about the issue. And I think a rally like today, like blocking the intersection, can be really effective for that.
Yeah, a lot of people I noticed were even asking the police what is going on, and they said that the pipeline thing. So definitely it's starting more people to the cause and creating the awareness of it. Like I didn't even personally know that it was going to be going on until a producer of mine told me that there's a protest here and you should cover it. So
it's awesome.
Yeah. Right. So yeah, do you think it's going to be successful with the shutdowns at all, or?
I really couldn't say. I mean, I have a lot of fear for the people who are up at Wet'suwet'en. Like, there are camps further in that have yet to be raided. People are very scared right there. And I think whether it's going to be successful or not, we need to be doing whatever we can to raise the public awareness, to hopefully get our politicians to step in.
How many people are up there in Wet'suwet'en, if I'm pronouncing that correctly?
I'm not sure. Like, it's a lot of like the local Wet'suwet'en people, and there are some supporters up there as well, but I don't know the exact numbers that are up there right now.
So a lot of this group apparently is heading to the port of Vancouver. Is that one of the main points where they're trying to hold down and kind of disrupt trade and create kind of economic sanctions, in a sense, against the country of Canada?
Absolutely, yeah. So that they've been blockading there for a couple days now. And it's really just like creating an economic disruption that hopefully will get awareness from the public and from our politicians.
So I guess the hope is that if you guys disrupt the economy enough, they'll finally cave and allow you guys to have your rights.
That's the hope, yeah. Definitely.
Interesting. Thank you so much for your time. Also, are you from any specific organization that we could
so I'm an organizer with the Sustainability Teams and Climate Strike Canada. So we organize like the massive climate strikes here and across the country.
They keep trying to shut down our fire, but we told them that they cannot mess with our ceremony. They can't come in here with Canadian laws and shut down our sacred ways, our sacred law, our rights.
If you don't like tacos, this next segment is not your type. Next we cover marimba, local Mexican street food.
My name is Mariana, and I am one of the 3 business partners of Marimba, the food truck. We're a Mexican food truck located downtown Vancouver. So marimba is actually an instrument. It's a very traditional, again, instrument from Veracruz. So Veracruz is the state where we're all from. My 2 business partners and I are from the same state, and it's in the Gulf of Mexico. And one of the things that's very symbolic of that state for Mexicans is the marimba. It wasn't my idea to start the food truck. It was my business partners, who you'll interview after me. The guy with the idea has been in the food industry for a while, and our other business partner is a chef who came from Mexico here just to start the business. Our food is authentic Mexican food, but we try to use local ingredients to support local businesses. So we don't import anything. We use everything that's grown and made here. Like our main dishes, the pork, the salmon, the veggies, are all from local suppliers. The only thing that we do take from Mexico are spices to be able to cook those local ingredients with Mexican flavors. So for example, we have a sandwich called the Powell River torta. Torta is how you say sandwich in Mexico. And Powell River, we named it that because that's where we get our salmon from, and we thought that people would be able to associate with that name. And empanadas, which are like corn dough filled in and then deep fried. And the empanadas are usually very famous street food in Mexico. You see old women cook them in the streets, and all of our food is very time consuming and labor intensive, which is very rare for food trucks. Food trucks usually just prep as fast as they can and serve things from basically cans. And that's one of the things that differentiates us from other trucks, is that people really see that our food takes a long time to make, and it's like restaurant quality food but in a food truck.
In our next segment, I take you through an insight of the local food truck Go Curry Go. Hello, I'm Aahil. Today I'm interviewing Zakir Somani, owner of the esteemed food truck Go Curry Go. Go Curry Go, while still very new, has already created a name for itself and is growing widely popular every single day. You already own such a successful business. What made you decide to open a branch of that?
We did very well in our existing facility. People love us. The community loves us. We were running out of space, and our success was, of course, greatly due to this community. So we had to launch another project, another location.
Right. Why do you think your customers keep coming back to your truck? What makes it so desirable? What makes it so irresistible?
Freshness. Everything that we make is cooked to order. Nothing is pre-made. Even on our truck, everything is made fresh on board. The quality, the ingredients that are sourced from local markets, from local farmers, the spice mix that we have our own spice mix. That's what makes our food so irresistible, and people love that.
Lastly, how would you describe your success? How were you able to debunk all of the trucks in your area in such a short amount of time? What's the secret there?
Quality of food. It's like, and the taste itself, the customer service. Our cooking is home style cooking. It's something that we've always grew up eating. It's very authentic. People just like our food. They all give us 5 stars.
That's great. That's great. All right. Well, that's all I have for you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
I cannot even express my excitement about the new segment where Burnaby Connect goes on to cover scavenger coffee.
My name is Rory, this is Diana, and this is Scavenger Coffee. For us, since we're on a bicycle, we're a little bit constrained by, what kind of machinery we can have. It takes no electricity or anything like that, just muscle power. We have a vintage hand grinder, which is called a spawn. They come from England originally and used to be very common, not so much nowadays. So that's how we get our grind. Then it goes into our machine, which is called Fantastico, which is a rebuilt machine from the 70s, from Italy originally. It's a lever pull machine, so again, there's no buttons or electricity. It's just muscle power that gives the pressure to make your espresso shot.
Rory was working an office job and I was doing bicycle deliveries, and we left and went traveling, both quit our jobs, and while we were away we decided to come back to Vancouver, but we didn't want to go back to what we were doing before. We wanted to do something new, something exciting, something that would teach us a few things. And so we decided we wanted to do something with bikes, and we were into culture, and we wanted to do something that engenders culture. So we figured coffee would be a good place to start, and so we decided to start a coffee bike.
Next up, we have a special report from Burnaby Connect going to the Whistler Film Festival.
Hi, my name is Richard Davis, and I'm here for Burnaby Connect. Today we're going to be reporting on the amazing and beautiful Whistler Film Festival. So we're here with Sean Cisterna. He is the director of From the Vine. Can you tell us a bit of what this movie is about?
Sure. From the Vine is the story of a down-on-his-luck CEO suffers a moral crisis and returns to his hometown in southern Italy to rejuvenate a vineyard on its dying legs, and kind of uses his business skills to teach the local townspeople how to be a self-sustaining vineyard and winery. So it's a charming, whimsical adult fairy tale set in Italy.
That's awesome. So you said it's set in Southern Italy. You guys actually shot there, and I believe I was reading that it was the first time a town was ever featured on film, right?
Yeah, so it's an international co-production, meaning the governments of Canada and Italy came together to make the movie. And we shot in Acerenza, a stunning 2,000-year-old town on top of a mountain in southern Italy. Zero film infrastructure, but it was a really communal effort to make our film crew welcome and make a movie in that small town.
So obviously you've been doing the festival circuit with From the Vine. As a director, what is your favorite part of the festival so far?
I love traveling to festivals because you get to see how audiences react from, whether it be in Canada, the United States, or Europe, and it's cool validation to know that your film works in multiple territories. So yeah, it's a cool way to see the world on someone else's dime as well.
That is true.
I don't know how to make wine. Does anybody know how to make wine here? Okay, so we Googled it.
Poi cerchiamo con Google, eh?
Oh, perfect. Just stay there.
Good. Very nice. Right there? Yeah. Eyes are here.
Hi, I'm Richard Davis here for Burnaby Connect, and we're with...
Andrea Stefanchikova.
And she is the lead in a movie called Promised Land. Can you tell us what the movie is about?
Yeah, of course. So our film Promised Land is basically about two strangers, a woman and a man, that meet first online, and then it kind of takes them into real life. And they start building this relationship, or unexpected relationship, that kind of takes them on a journey of a lot of violence and action. And Velvet, my character Velvet, is kind of holding the emotional arc of the film. And so that's kind of generally what it's about. But it's about love, about promises, about lives, about life. You know, we could talk about it that way as well.
Oh, neat. And how does this differ from your past work?
The difference, between Velvet or this film and other films is that Velvet, even though she is a prostitute, it's a very complex role.
Right.
She's a human being that had a very tough upbringing as a child, and as a result of that, she is living the life that she's living, and she happens to be a prostitute, but she's actually a human being that society tends to overlook. She's probably someone who works on a street, but she has a lot of depth and a lot of layers. So I really try to humanize her and just show people that people like her and many others who've had a very tough upbringing have a lot of things to say.
So Promised Land obviously included a lot of fight choreography, and it was actually directed by a stuntman, correct?
Yes, Kirk Cowett.
It's taken 4 months just in pre-production for stunt choreography. How was that for you as an actor? Like, have you done stunt choreography before this movie at all? Or?
I haven't done, not to this extent, and my character doesn't do a lot of the stunts. She does a lot of the shooting, I should say.
Fun.
So she uses a lot of handguns, but she still is a woman who does wear heels in almost nearly every shot. So my training was a little bit different. It was more using firearms that I've had already previously, and then more so for the film. But for the stunts, I mean, it's a martial art film as well. So their training was really extensive, and we were lucky to have, I think, over 100 people that worked on it. Yeah, from the stunt community.
That's insane.
It's insane.
Stay with me, and I promise you'll never have to run again.
And one more again. And a headshot.
It's about a music producer who's working in LA, who's from the United Kingdom, who is a schizophrenic. He befriends a young chanteuse who he sees some real potential in, a singer, and it's at that point that he decides to come off his medication and suffers a schizophrenic break, which sort of sends him out into the dark underbelly of LA. And Hannah, played by Juna Temple, who's the young singer, he sort of encourages to follow a career. She kind of comes to his rescue as much as she can. And it's sort of a tale about lost souls in Los Angeles, in a town which can be very impersonal, how easy it is to become homeless very quickly if you don't have the right sort of mental health care. And it's a film about friendship, so yeah, it's lots of things.
So what do you think, with it being, a very deep movie about the whole drug addiction thing and schizophrenia, what societal impact do you think the film was going to have?
I hope it will sort of bring some attention to some of the sort of flaws in the mental health system, I think, in the US. I think it's very difficult to get people into care who have mental health issues. They have to be taken in on certain criteria, and that doesn't always fit the characteristics of what they have in terms of their mental health issues. It's not easy when people have to submit themselves for care. People who don't believe they're unwell or think that everyone's out to get them aren't going to submit themselves for help. So Theo, my character, goes from being a fairly well-adjusted music producer living in an apartment in LA to being completely homeless in about 3 days, just because he gets evicted, and then, So, it says a lot about the sort of plight of the mentally unwell.
I wish you all the luck with the film. Thank you very much for your time.
Here we go.
Hi, I'm Richard Davis here for Burnaby Connect, and we are with
Natalie.
Now, Natalie stars in a film at the Whistler Film Festival called We Had It Coming, and she is one of the stars to watch this year. So what is We Had It Coming about?
So it's about a woman who is grieving, and she essentially goes on a mission to avenge her sister's death.
So from the trailer, it looks like it really deals with some dark themes. How was it for you as an actress to deal with?
Whenever you take on a role like that, it's hard to not really go deep with it. So, so the big themes throughout the film are grief, and then as well it has to deal with human trafficking, sex trafficking in particular. So, I did a lot of kind of did a nosedive into true crime. Watching a lot of documentaries and reading a lot about that, and so that it kind of takes you over. So you're just, for a month, I was essentially kind of in that state.
Awesome. So this project's kind of, as I said, as dark themes. How does it differ, the acting-wise, from other projects that you've worked on in the past?
How does it differ? Well, I had a lot of input with this film. The director, Paul, from the beginning, he was really curious what I thought about the script, what I thought about the character. So I really felt that I was able to come to him with a lot of my ideas about the character and the storyline. Yeah. So and on set too, during scenes, it was very collaborative. So we had a lot of opportunities where we could sit down and discuss. And we had a rehearsal process as well, where we did a lot of improvisation and exploration to really discover what was kind of coming out naturally.
That's awesome. I mean, thank you for taking the time to speak with us. It was really fascinating.
Oh, great.
And I wish you the best of luck at the festival.
Thanks so much, Richard. He's gonna get away with it. We both know it.
Yeah, head on like that. Straight on.
So we're here with Ryan McDonald at the Whistler Film Festival. You are the lead in Black Conflux. Can you tell us a bit of what that movie is about?
I can, yeah. Black Conflux is sort of a psychological thriller / coming-of-age story. It's a bit of a doomed course between two people who are very, very different but oddly similar in a lot of ways, who don't know each other. But the film kind of tracks their progression towards finally crossing paths, and you're meant to be a little worried about what might happen when they finally do.
So that's the kind of the climactic build-up then, is them kind of inching slowly closer. That's fascinating.
Yeah.
So you play Dennis. Can you tell us a bit about that character and what it was like to play him?
Yeah, Dennis is a pretty lonely guy, lost in his own thoughts and his fantasies, and he doesn't really have much of a support system around him that he can see, so he's sort of left to his own devices. He works a blue-collar job, he lives in his sister's basement, doesn't have a lot of friends, and he's kind of white-knuckling it through some impulses that he knows are wrong and really, really dark and antisocial, but he's having a hard time denying them. So it was a pretty personal and trippy experience getting into that mindset.
So much for your time, and look forward to seeing you film one day.
Appreciate it.